We are so excited to start with our first podcast of Cinema My Child and Me. I am Shibangi.
And I'm Abhinav.
Our theme for today's episode is interacting with the unknown, and the movie we are featuring is My Neighbour Totoro. Let me quickly take our listeners through a summary of the film, and then we can get to what makes it so special. My Neighbor Totoro is about two young girls, Satsuki and Mei Kusakabe, about 10 and 5 years old, who move with their father to a new village in Japan of the 1950s, 1960s, to be closer to their mother who's getting treated for an unnamed illness in a hospital nearby. The movie follows their adventures as they settle into their lives, making friends, discovering new and unusual things about their new home and village, and growing up with their family. Don't forget to look at the closing credits, which have some very interesting revelations giving the story a perfect closure. The film has been directed by the Japanese living legend Hayao Miyazaki and produced by his very beloved and popular Studio Ghibli. The film is currently on Netflix except in the US and UK, where the DVDs and Blu-rays are very readily available. And on Netflix, the movie comes with a selection of audio tracks and subtitles in several languages. So, Abhinav, why don't you quickly tell us what you thought of the movie? What are your quick impressions about it first?
To be honest, the film immediately sent me back to my childhood. I thought it's right out of the time that I spent in my village growing up in the smaller towns of North India. The Totoro character was picked straight out of my adventures in my village, where we used to have a village deity called Baram Baba watching over us, protecting all of us. And he resided on the old banyan tree, and that's what the camphor tree represents to me in the film. The fantastic generosity of the neighbors just took me back to the same time that I spent with my cousins, with my brothers, my sisters, way back in the village, where we always were certain of an afternoon lunch. We could just walk into any neighbor's house and have our lunches. I think what really touched me was that there wasn't any need, as we see in the film, for the adults to continuously engage with their children. The children can be allowed to be free and explore the world, make meaning of it all by themselves. And the relationship that Mei and Satsuki share, I think my brothers and we talk about it very often. The way the younger one deals with the older one, there is sensitivity, there is a whole lot of love, but it's not like the responsibilities of the older siblings take a backseat. They're always present, they're always watching over the younger one, and that I think really binds these two characters together for me.
I agree with you. It was very slice of life for me as well. It especially brought back memories of summer vacations spent with cousins. Most frequently, I used to go to my uncle's house where there was a huge backyard with lots of trees, birds, and insects of various kinds. We would just be outdoors all day, fancying ourselves as Shikari Shambhu from Tinkle Comics, if you know what I mean. Now, there was also an incident where at my maternal grandfather's house, there used to be a big backyard with lots of coconut trees, and we were asked never to venture out in the afternoon. But this one time, my cousin and I, we sneaked out, and we realized why our grown-ups were constantly telling us to not do that, because I was almost attacked by a monkey at that time. It was scary then, but it makes for great stories to tell our nephews and nieces now, and I absolutely adore the way their eyes light up when we are telling them these stories. The movie also brings about a sense of calm, and it has a very quiet reverence for nature, which I believe was very beautiful about it. It is one of those movies that one turns to when seeking something uncomplicated and meditative. This is not to say that the movie is not fun or boring or slow. It is very, very fun, and it also has very key emotional points which have very high emotional pulls, like the scenes involving the sisters taking care of each other or consoling each other, or the father very indulgently answering all their questions or quelling their fears of the unknown.
Shibangi, I would just pick up this thing about the film being slow or fast. Most of us have sort of now grown up on this idea that films are all about a whole lot of events that need to come together for us to get excited about it, to get interested in it. Miyazaki asks us to take a pause.
Yes.
He says, as children, what do you think will happen to you? You will
Absolutely.
fall in a ditch.
Yes.
You will probably just get caught up in rain. you're not going to be dealing with financial crisis, that the meltdown that happened in US, right? So that entire aspect is very, very clear in this film. It's just asking us that, this is a fantastic time for you to do things with your own hands, or rather follow the trail of your curiosity, and explore things the way you would explore it, not as the way adults will tell you to.
That's right. And the film is also set about 70, 80 years ago. And it makes sense that things were kind of slow back then. People were allowed to get bored. It was okay for children to venture out on their own, find time to be bored, so that they come across questions they feel like finding answers to. But if they are well prepared for these small pauses that they need to take, then I believe it becomes very easy for them to handle any kind of uncertainty that comes their way.
If there is one feeling that I can really look at this film putting across, it's almost like Miyazaki has created this fantastic montage of shimmering memories. It's so beautifully done. It's the way we would all remember the good things from our childhood.
Yes.
It's untainted, even though there are certain points where things do get unpleasant for that 4-year-old or for that 6-year-old child. But the intensity of it never takes away from the moments that were created when you were growing up.
Yeah.
The fragrance of these memories throughout lingers. You switch off the film and you're still thinking, oh, remember that one time when I fell in the canal and my uncle saved me from drowning. I was definitely not drowning. The water was not so much, but still, for the child, that becomes a fragrant thing.
I agree. We come to the close of our first episode of Cinema, My Child and Me. We hope you have enjoyed listening to us. We have really enjoyed putting together our thoughts for you. Please come back and tell us on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter, or write to us at breakfastatcinema@gmail.com and tell us what we can do better and what else you would like us to talk about. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Looking forward to talking to you again very soon. We say bye-bye.
Happy watching.